All right, everybody. So I wanted to talk to you very quickly in this video. We're going to go into more depth into subsequent videos, but I wanted to talk a little bit about a problem that is cropping up kind of again and again and again as we are tutoring people in writing specifically. So one of the problems that we seem to be having is plagiarism. All right, now I know that this can be a scary word, a charged word, whatever it might be. But at the end of the day, what we're talking about is whether you do it intentionally or whether you do it accidentally because we're not exactly sure what the rules are. It's when you take someone else's work, and again, sometimes intentionally, sometimes accidentally, portray it as if it is your own work without giving them credit. So there's incremental plagiarism, which is more of the accidental type, and then there's global plagiarism, which is more of the intentional type. So the difference would be global plagiarism is, it tends to occur when you have someone that essentially either you might pay for someone to write a paper for you, or you may go online and copy and paste your way to completing an assignment. So say you go online and you're looking for a paper on, the historic impact of Abraham Lincoln, or a literary review of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain. So if you go to their Wikipedia page for either one of those two subjects, and you simply copy and paste what's already there and dump it into a Google Docs or a Word document, that's global plagiarism. You understand that you are taking someone else's work and presenting it to your professor, teacher, instructor as if it is your work. So that's number one, the problem right there. So that's just plain old-fashioned cheating. And it may be that you were not monitored well in high school, or no one seemed to call you on that, and that's okay. You can get away with that sometimes. But at the end of the day, global plagiarism is when either you take someone else's work, whether you grab it off the internet, whether you turn in a paper that somebody else had already turned in a previous semester, or whether you go online and copy and paste sort of your way to completing an assignment. That's global plagiarism. So incremental plagiarism is what we see more often than not. And it's not as extreme as global plagiarism, because what the incremental plagiarism is you maybe directly quote something or someone from an article that you read, or from a book that you're reading, or a novel, or a lab report, or something like that, and you just don't have the proper citation. That happens, and it's accidental for the most part, and most professors, instructors, teachers are going to give you the opportunity to revise out of that. Now, if you keep on making the same mistake over and over again, they tend to get less friendly with it because they feel like you're not listening to what they're saying. But when you have incremental plagiarism, what you're really talking about is not adhering to the MLA, the APA, the Chicago style formatting. And we're going to go into that in the next video. But just be aware that whether you are taking and presenting someone else's total work as your own, or whether you are making a few mistakes in citation, notation, that kind of a thing, or you're just not aware of the conventions of a particular form of citation strategy, then that tends to be on the lesser side. The global plagiarism is what's going to get you in trouble faster than anything else. This is more reminiscent of you know exactly what you're doing and you're doing it anyway. This is more of an accidental thing where you're talking about, you may just not be familiar with some of the guidelines, or perhaps you've never written an APA or you were never taught MLA before, and that's okay. Again, in subsequent videos, that's what we're going to be discussing. Will be how to properly cite things or how to properly paraphrase things so that you can avoid this incremental plagiarism. Okay? Global plagiarism is just wrong any way that you do it, and you're going to come up against your school's honor code. They have very little tolerance for people who just go to this. It could be cheating intentionally, it could be laziness, it could be a lot of different things, but global plagiarism is almost never tolerated beyond one exception. And incremental plagiarism, unless you have a really, really strict professor, teacher, instructor, or your student responsibilities are very strict, most of the time you can revise your way out of incremental plagiarism. Okay? All right, everybody, stay tuned for the next video where we will talk about direct citation and paraphrasing and the difference between the two.